Okay, here is another 32 team NFL Dynasty, is what the league's called. Every team, every player pretty much starts with whatever NFL franchise they choose, that roster is who they get. So I chose, of all teams, one of my least favorite teams, the Browns. And there was one reason why I did that. One of the things that this league was going to do was not only did you get your draft position, but if the real life franchise had traded for an extra pick somewhere, you were going to get that extra pick. And with the Browns, I actually got the 6th overall pick. And then I also got the 24th overall pick. Because in real life, they had traded, I think with the Falcons maybe. I can't remember exactly who. But so I had 2 first round picks. So I kind of wanted the Browns for that reason. And then the other thing is, I have long watched the Browns just be completely inept at what they're doing. Now, this year, in watching them, they have been rehashing, I guess overhauling is really the word I'm looking for, their offensive line. It is going to be run the football down people's throats. And then maybe the quarterback will, play some quarterback every now and then. But it's mostly going to be Quinshon Judkins and Dylan Sampson, I think, just running down people, putting a mud hole in them on the way to the end zone. So what I've been trying to do is really kind of remain faithful to the Browns' idea here, and that is we are going to run the football. And I even really had to commit to that come draft time. I'll show you what happened in the rookie draft that I think may or may not end up haunting this Browns franchise forever. The beauty of it is, of course, it's, a team I hate mostly. So we'll see how that goes. But if I keep getting to draft players and put players on this roster, I'm eventually going to like it a lot. So let me go through my notes here real quick. So I had 2 first-round picks. That was why I picked the Browns. I traded back. We'll talk a little bit about this in some more detail. I had the 1-6. I ended up trading back to the 1-8. And then I ended up trading back to the 113. So I picked up some extra assets, and I'll talk about those. I did miss Concepcion at 110 by doing that. So by trading back to 1-8, I could have taken Concepcion, who was drafted by the Browns. But I instead decided to trade back again. I feel like wide receiver is very deep, and I just don't have to have the one guy that they picked. So we'll see if that ends up haunting me later. I will talk about who I did pick at that 13 spot. I'm really, really happy with it. I also, in my very, very few transactions, so some leagues I trade a lot. This league I did not trade that much, but I did trade away Jerry Jeudy, and I did trade away Cedric Tillman, because I knew those guys were not going to be the starting wide receivers for the Cleveland Browns. I just don't think so. Maybe Jeudy will still work his way in. I don't know. Maybe Tillman will. But people actually wanted him, so I traded him away. And in those trades, I ended up getting Josh Downs, who plays for the Colts, and I think he's going to be amazing this year. So I think I've already addressed the wide receiver position to an extent. I probably should have gotten Concepcion too and put him with Downs. That maybe would have been really, really nice, but I didn't do it. And I'll tell you why here in a little bit. I have turned down, by the way, several offers for Quinshon Judkins. And I'm usually pretty nice about it. I usually decline the offer, but then I go back in the chat and I usually say something like, I'm going to decline for now, but if I think of a counter, I'll let you know. That's typically code for I am not thinking of a counter, and no, I am not going to trade that player. So also turned down some offers for Fannin, the tight end, and I think I'm going to be happy that I did that, because honestly, he's the one current piece that I think you definitely want is Fannin. QB is a gigantic question mark, and you'll see where I could have addressed that some, but I decided not to in the draft. So in my trading, as far as moving around picks and moving around players, I acquired the 5.29, which has not come up yet. I also acquired a 2028 second round pick, which in my mind I see as turning into some kind of a 2027 pick, even if it's a third round pick, maybe, because that draft is supposed to be really, really good. So, so I also received for the 1/8, I received the 113, the 529, and a 2028 second round pick. For the 1/8, or for the 1/6 that I started with, I received the 1/8 and a third round pick, the 322. So I also still have the 2/6, the 3/6, the 322 that I talked about, the 4/6, the 5/6, and the 529 I talked about. So I've got some extra assets there I can work with, and I'm probably going to target tight end, or not tight end, wide receiver somewhere. Again, I have the 124 that's still coming up. And we'll kind of see how that looks when it gets to me. In fact, we probably can take a look at that here in just a second. I might trade back at the 124 as well, especially if there's not a offensive player that I want. Right now, I think it's Stowers is available. I don't need him, but I think if he's there, I got to take him. And I think Bell for Miami is going to be there, maybe. Those two guys, if one of them is there, I think I have to take them. But if they're both gone, I can probably trade back some. But I can still get a really good player at 24, even if it's not as good a wide receiver as Concepcion. So that is all the notes that I had written down on the Browns. Can't believe I'm sitting here talking about the Browns. That's for sure. So let's take a look at them here. Here's the team. Cleveland Browns. Here's my Downs acquisition here. A few, players that are just not important. Bond and Corley and some of these other guys. Here's Shedeur Sanders. I do not think he will be the starter at the beginning of the year. I think it will be Deshaun Watson. So mark it down on May the 4th that I have said so. But here's Garrett. Here's Schlesinger. These are good players. These are really good defensive players. And I have actually already taken a step to make this defense even better. So here's Dylan Gabriel. Here's Watson. A bunch of depth pieces here we won't necessarily talk about. I got some empty spots. They had a rule about picking up people off the waiver wire, and I got into this mode of I was going through all my teams and just started putting in some waiver stuff, and I forgot they had that rule. So then when the waivers ran, they immediately cut who I had acquired, and I also did not get the players back that I had cut to acquire those other players. So I ended up with some empty spots. So we don't get to do anything until after the draft. Waiver wire is going to be huge on this team. I gotta fill some spots most likely. I can't put anybody on the taxi squad yet because rookies are the ones who do that. Notice my 113 pick here. Caleb Downs, I think he is maybe the generational player of this draft. I think the Cowboys did really well with him, and I'm really happy to have him. And so I have picked him at the 113. I also have the 124 coming up, and I have not had a chance to pick anyone there yet. Let's go into that draft room, and let's just see how it's going. So this one is not a super flex. It is a 32-teamer, though. So you do have Love going first. And I do think this is the Raiders. So instead of the Raiders taking Mendoza, they take Love in this fantasy league. And then the second pick is Mendoza. And I can't remember who that team was. Might have been the Jets. I can't remember. Excuse me. So here's your three receivers, Tate, Tyson, and Lemon, and that's probably the order I think they should go in. Notice that my spot here is 6 with the Browns, but I traded back to 8 with the Saints guy so he could get Sadiq. And he got him, and he was happy. Here's this running back for Seattle, which I think might be a little bit of fool's gold for some, but hey, y'all can have him. And then here we are at this pick at 1-8, and I had a chance to take Ty Simpson with the Browns. I would prefer, especially number one, I'm already invested in Simpson in a couple of other leagues, and I don't want to overinvest. And number two, I kind of want to see what the Browns actually do at quarterback, and I'm not terribly convinced that Deshaun Watson is not going to come back and be serviceable. I think he can be. They've also got Shedeur, who I don't think is great. But behind him, they have Dylan Gabriel, who I think also can service at quarterback. So I feel like if I got Simpson, that would have muddied the waters a little. So what I did was the Rams guy was at 13, and I reached out to him and I said, "Hey, you want to move up and take Simpson?" And of course he asked, "Well, if I don't, are you going to take Simpson?" And I said, "Yes, yes, I am." So he made me a trade, and I've already talked about some of the assets I got. And so I ended up back here at 113. He took Simpson. And then look, Styles and Concepcion went here. So if I wanted to follow the Browns playbook, I had my chance here at that too. But he wasn't even my pick. I did think Concepcion might make it all the way to me. But Styles and Reese, I think, are great picks in these two spots. Here's where it got interesting. Alec here is the Cowboys franchise, and I knew he was going to take Downs. I couldn't believe he wasn't going to do it. So I offered actually a small trade to move up. He said no, he knew who he wanted. He went and he took the Indiana wide receiver Cooper, which let Downs fall to me. And I was very happy to take him right there. So notice there's two more receivers, Boston and Bernard. And then here's Bain, who, again, I think he's sliding too far in just about every league I've seen. But now we're sitting here at the 120. We're waiting on the Packers. And I don't know that pick's going to happen tonight. It doesn't really look like it. This pick has already been traded, so I don't know who's going to snipe something in front of me here, but I got to be honest, I'm not too worried about it because here I am at the 124. And this, again, I think was like the real-life Falcons pick or something. I can't remember exactly who, but I ended up with it because that was the startup rules, and I took the Browns because they had 2 first-round picks. If we go look at my queue, I have now I've put these in an order that are based upon who I think the best player is. Not necessarily who's going to score the most points, not necessarily who's my favorite or playing for a favorite or anything like that. It's just who's the best player on the board. And I still think Delane, especially this late at 24, is a great pick. But again, I already invested in him in one other league. I don't know if I want to invest in him again. The first thing I kind of want to do here is just scroll down and look at offense because I do think this team is pretty set on defense. It needs offense. And so Chris Bell down here with Miami, I have a feeling he will be available there. I don't know that I necessarily have to have him. Same with Stowers. Same with Jonah Coleman, who I honestly, again, may end up having to take, but I'm set at running back. I've got Judkins and Sampson, so I don't know if I need him. I do love Brazel, and I do love Sarrett, and Hurst, actually, and Fields, and Williams. So here's like 5 receivers that I wouldn't mind having. And so when I think back up here, if there's somebody back here behind me that wants to jump up, again, I would take a slide or 2 or 3 to the back of this round and take one of these other receivers later and pick up a few extra assets. And I've got plenty of roster space, so I can pick up all the, 3rd, 4th, 5th round picks that I want. So I'm kind of going to see what happens. I wouldn't mind actually if there's somebody does get taken here that does look like it might be a snipe on someone's part, I could play the part and be like, oh, well, I'll just trade back. When actually I'm very happy. I can just tell you now, 4 spots away. Yeah, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spots away. I can count probably 8 players easy that I would take. In fact, I would even jump to offense. I would pick back. I'm fine with Bell. I'm fine with Stowers. I'm fine with Coleman. I'm fine with Brazel, Sarrett, Hurst, and Fields at 7. Williams is 8. So I'm not even terribly upset if I ended up with Katron Allen. So there's 9. So I'm really happy moving back here at the 124. I might even look up the guy who's doing the Falcons, since I think he doesn't have a first-round pick, and see if he wants to maybe make a move. So that's where we're sitting. This one's one I can definitely do another follow-up when the rookie draft is over. Let you guys know how I feel about it. And, here I am running the Browns. Who would have thought that would happen? A longtime Steeler fan like me. So, again, I would just say when it comes to especially heavy IDP leagues. These leagues, if you look at the starting lineups here, man, I mean, you've got to go pretty deep to get your, get all your IDP spots filled for sure. I mean, we're going running back, 3 wide receivers, a tight end, 2 flex. Here's a super flex. We're not even running a quarterback necessarily, so you don't have to if you don't want to. Here's a kicker, and then you've got 2 defensive linemen, 2 linebackers, 2 defensive backs, and then 2 IDPs. So you got to go pretty deep. And I can just tell you now, as it relates to the way these things get drafted, your linebackers tend to go first. Your edge rushers, not your run stoppers, not your big, beefy, ugly dudes that just sit there and take up 2 blockers, but the ones that run off the edge and get the sacks, they're the ones that you want to put here. And then defensive backs, you typically don't want corners. You want safeties, again, coming off the blitz, getting interceptions, that sort of thing. So getting tackles. You tackles add up for sure. So just know that's what you're looking at when it comes to some of these defensive, individual defensive players. I'm going to let you guys go on this one. And again, if I get a chance to update you, I will do so soon. Stay safe out there.